Nigeria is doing things right because it has this fantastic population of 160 million. It has the oil. But what really has helped it recently with the flat oil price is its entrepreneurial frenzy in places like Lagos, where in a relatively unregulated market, everybody is wheeler dealing with one another. And yes, there is corruption, and one doesn't like that, but it's like China. Here in South Africa, we're just too formalized.
Why?
I guess it's a throwback to the mining industry, which created a very concentrated economy. And if you look around Johannesburg, Sandton City, we're not an African market. And yes, there are places where you have African markets, but it's not like the whole city of Johannesburg is like Hong Kong or Lagos.
Do you think in 8 years' time Nigeria will have sorted out big challenges that it faces, like infrastructure, electricity? Most people use generators because they can't rely on the national grid.
Look, there are challenges, but they are overcome if you have that collective spirit of entrepreneurship. Look at India. India is nothing like China in terms of development of infrastructure, but India has an economy that's been growing at 6 to 8% per annum. China has had both. It's had a growing infrastructure plus the entrepreneurs. Nigeria is like India. We have to be like China. We've got the infrastructure. We now need the entrepreneurs.
Besides oil in Nigeria, what are some of the industries that are the big drivers of this growth?
It's not so much picking out specific industries in Nigeria because it is oil. It's really driven by oil. I mean, the Chinese have chosen Angola and Nigeria to be its two largest oil suppliers, and that has helped enormously despite all the controversy over the oil industry in Nigeria. But the real thing is just the small businesses in Nigeria that are coping with domestic needs.
You say that South Africa is facing its second tipping point and that the probability that this country could become a failed state is actually growing. What are some of the indicators that you've identified?
I did a presentation and had a discussion with two Western embassies in Pretoria recently, and I asked them, did you foresee the Arab Spring? Neither of them foresaw the Arab Spring. So then I said, what were the flags that you missed? And they said, abnormally high youth unemployment combined with active social networks, combined with a growing alienation from the state by young people. And guess what? We have all three in South Africa. So we are one random event away from our own version of an Arab Spring. And that's why the failed state at the moment is a very low probability scenario.
10%.
10%. But if we don't actually do something about lowering our hideous youth unemployment of 50% plus, then we are going to head in the same direction.